Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Wednesday, halfway through another week, halfway towards Arsenal's next Premier League game of the season at Bournemouth on Saturday afternoon, whatever you want to say. 5:30 kickoffs are, but everyone are looking forward to that. I think eyes very much turning to that game. See if Arsenal can continue this excellent start to the season. They've had chance to make it 9 points out of 9. Now that would be nice considering how they started last season, wouldn't it? We'll look ahead to that game more as the week progresses. As I said yesterday, I'll be at London Colney on Friday morning for Mikel Arteta's press conference ahead of that match where we'll find out the latest team news, that sort of stuff. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll try and do a video after that press conference at London Colney. But I wanted to do sort of focus, certainly the first part of the video today, on All or Nothing, the finale, which hits your screens tomorrow, Thursday. Now, this is going to contain a few spoilers from what you can expect to see in episodes 7 and 8, because I've been lucky enough to get an advanced screening of them. So if you don't want to know anything about them, you don't want to get any sort of, just not clues, because I'm going to talk about what there is within these videos. If you don't want any spoilers, anything like that, if you want it all to be completely a surprise, then don't watch the rest of this video, or flick forward a bit until I've stopped talking about All or Nothing, because this isn't going to be for you. So warning now, this does contain some spoilers. Obviously, it's not groundbreaking in terms of what these final 2 episodes are going to contain. They're going to contain bits we haven't seen yet, so the end of the season. Including obviously the defeats at Tottenham and Newcastle. We know that's coming, unfortunately. It doesn't have the big ending that we all hoped it was going to have of Arsenal qualifying for the Champions League. It's going to have the ending of Arsenal missing out on the Champions League. And that's what we're going to see in these episodes. So, but if you do want to find out a little bit about what you're going to see and you want to wet your whistle for what's coming up, then stay tuned, because I'm going to talk about it here. Then I'm going to go over a little bit at the end exactly what I thought about All or Nothing. So, obviously the main thing, as I said, episode 8 very much focuses on the end of the season. So episode 7 was good. I think that episode 7 included the 3 back-to-back defeats, against Palace, Saints and Brighton. Then they had the wins against United, Chelsea and West Ham. So it's a bit of an up and down in terms of how the things we get. And it was a good, there's plenty of good stuff in that. There was some interesting bits. There was a good bit with Eddie Nketiah where they kind of follow Eddie and they talk a little bit about his struggles in terms of forcing his way into the side, and that was all sort of coincides with when he does force his way inside and eventually scores those goals against Chelsea. So there's some nice little bits with Eddie there talking about what it's like not being in the team and his struggles. There was interviews with Ian Wright in there talking about it. I like that, and there were some of the good bits. But I mean, basically, we all know the main thing that I wanted to see from the finale of All or Nothing was exactly what happened. A, after Spurs, B, certainly what the reaction was like in the dressing room after that Newcastle defeat. Now, the Spurs one, they didn't go into it too much. You saw a little bit of Rob Holding after he got sent off. You saw what Mikel had to say afterwards, but there wasn't any epic rant or anything like that. I think, clearly he knew that there was still a lot to play for in the Newcastle game. There was that sense of injustice and refereeing decisions. So he didn't really kick off there, but he certainly did kick off after the Newcastle game. You see exactly what he has to say to his players after that, and it is a pretty explosive rant. You'll see it when you watch it. It's well worth it. And you can see just how frustrated he is, and you can see how frustrated the players are. They know they let themselves down with that performance, and Arteta certainly let them have it in that rant, and it's been generating headlines. I put a piece out on Goal yesterday. If you haven't seen it yet, you can click on my social media and you'll see it, and where I talk about with a little bit more depth in terms of what you expect to see and what Mikel had to say in that rant. But it certainly gave a real sort of it was an eye-opener into just how frustrated and angry he was with that performance and how he didn't believe the team sort of followed what he was hoping they were going to do. And there was a lot of anger, frustration, sadness in that dressing room after Newcastle, because simply it wasn't good enough, and everyone knows what it ended up costing Arsenal. So that's kind of the main thing of these last 2 episodes. Obviously it builds up to that big Chelsea, that big Newcastle game. But there's some other decent bits in there as well. There's a bit with you've seen a kind of clip of it already in one of the teasers they did, where you saw Lacazette and Cedric squaring up in training. You kind of see that at the start of episode 8 in terms of what it was all about, and how it gets separated by the teammates, by Arteta, the coaching staff all running. And I won't give it too much away in terms of what it's all about. But Lacazette doesn't come off very well in that video, in that clip, I have to say. And so he looks a little bit petulant, and he just clearly takes his frustrations out on one of the young players. And Cedric doesn't like that as a word, and they end up squaring up. And yeah, Lacazette doesn't come out too well about that. There's some we see exactly why Kieran Tierney was out and missed the end of last season as well. Such a costly injury for Arsenal in terms of what that impact that had on the left hand side. And you find out Gary O'Driscoll, the club doctor, reveals exactly how he did that injury, and it was just walking out of a shower. I mean, it's just a freak injury that was so costly, and it wasn't done on training pitch or anything like that. It was done walking out of a shower after training. I mean, yeah, it kind of goes to show. You always think when you hear about these injuries, and it's happened in a match, a bad kick, or it's happened in training, but these absolute elite athletes can just injure themselves walking out of a shower and hurt their knee and basically rule themselves out for the season. And an injury, as I said, that was so costly in terms of Arsenal's ambitions. So there's just some of the things you're going to see in episodes 7 and 8. They do hit those drop tomorrow, as always with Amazon. They come out on the Thursdays, and then that's the end of the series. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And like I said, if you want to have a closer look, a little bit more in depth about what you can expect to see, then head over to my social media and you'll find the link for the story that went up on Goal yesterday. In terms of All or Nothing as a whole, I spoke about it a little bit in yesterday's video, but I just think it's been I've enjoyed it, I had to say. As I said, I didn't like the first episode. I thought there was a couple of bits that just didn't really go into as much depth as I was hoping, like the carnage around the Brentford game and the first game of the season, the COVID outbreak. That disappointed me. They could have gone into more depth in terms of why the North London derby was postponed in January as well, and and the conversations that happened around that was just totally glossed over. So that was disappointing as well. But on the whole, I thought it was a decent series. I thought it gave us all a bit of more of a look at what goes on, really what day-to-day life can be like at London Colney behind the scenes. And I think as an Arsenal fan, despite the ending, and we know it didn't have the ending that everyone wanted as Arsenal fans, but despite that, I still thought it was a good, worthwhile project, and something that I thought a lot of people came out well from. I thought there were some unlikely stars in it. I have to say, I thought Gary O'Driscoll, the club doctor, was really good throughout. He made me laugh a lot. There was I thought Mohamed Elneny, whenever he was on screen doing anything, I thought he came across well. Rob Holding came across really well, and you can see just how big a figure Rob Holding is behind the scene in the change room at Arsenal. I thought he came across well. I thought there was some, the Mikel Arteta team talks that I said yesterday were funny, and just Mikel Arteta's voice made me laugh every time at half time, full time. Just the way when he was shouting at his players and his voice is going all high pitched. There was just some real comedic value to that. I remember one point when he was ranting at someone. I can't remember. It was ranting about someone to Gary O'Driscoll, the club doctor, and in the end, O'Driscoll just laughs in his face and just like, your voice is terrible. It was just funny things like that made me smile. And I thought it was a good series, so I've enjoyed watching it. And let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy it or not? Are you happy that Arsenal decided to do it? Let me know what you guys think of the series down below. Just hit me up in the comments as always, and I hope you enjoy the final 2 episodes. So that's it from All or Nothing. So if you're coming back to the video now, if you didn't want any spoilers, then that's safe. I'm done with All or Nothing for today. In terms of Arsenal, I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but I was watching the first half of QPR versus Blackpool at Loftus Road. I was just interested in seeing how Charlie Patino performed. And I thought he did really, really well in that first half. I was really looking forward to seeing him coming out for the second half, and unfortunately he didn't come out because he got injured in the first half. He rolled his ankle. You saw it happen. You've seen the pictures on social media, kind of freeze frame. It looks really nasty. He's like properly rolls that ankle. He played on during the first half despite that injury, and but he had to come off in the second half. And Michael Appleton, the Blackpool manager, has been speaking about it. He said it was quite badly swollen at half time, so it's obviously something we've got to control, that swelling, get the swelling down, and then once we're in a position that the swelling is under control, he can go and get it scanned. It was one of those ones where you see a player go over an ankle and you just immediately like, oh no, what's he done? It's going to rip the ligaments and all that sort of stuff. No, it's too early to find out. I'm sure Arsenal would be paying very close attention to this. It might even be that he comes back to Arsenal to go through the medical stuff now, and he gets him self-scanned. Fingers crossed it's not too bad, and it just maybe he'll be out for a couple of weeks, and then it'll be all right. Hopefully there's no significant ligament damage. It'll be a real shame if he suffered a bad injury at this stage of his loan, because he's had a really good start at Blackpool. Yesterday was his first actual start. He's come on, made impressive performances off the bench in his first couple of games. Yesterday was his first start, and he was really good in that first half. Slotted in really well, looked perfectly at home in the Championship. And it was all kind of shaping up to be a really positive loan spell, start of his loan spell. So fingers crossed it's nothing too bad, and we get to see Patino back playing for Blackpool in a couple of weeks, because this is a big year for him. It's a big season. It wasn't really supposed to happen. The original plan was for him to stay at Arsenal. He was going to be in and around the first team, potentially get some minutes in the Europa League, in the League Cup, and really sort of settle in and around the first team. There was a change of plan. They decided to send him out. Sent him to a club that they have really good relationship with, Blackpool, that sort of stemmed from the Daniel Ballard loan spell there. They sent Tyrese John Jules there as well. Didn't quite have a successful spell because of injuries, but it's a club that they trust when it comes to developing some of their top young talent. So that's why they sent him to Blackpool to work with Michael Appleton, another coach that they really like to send young players to. And it was all shaping up to be a good loan spell. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Charlie comes back pretty soon and plays, because it's you don't want to see one of the young players going out on loan and getting an injury too early, and especially when it's Charlie Patino, who I think we've all got our eyes on to see exactly what he can do this season in his first full season in senior football. There's been plenty of reports in France over the last sort of 12, 24 hours about interest from Nice in Nicolas Pepe. Now, this will be potentially an interesting one. I was speaking about Pepe in yesterday's video, and the difficulty that Arsenal have found so far this summer in finding a club to take Nicolas Pepe, a player that Arsenal are open to letting leave. Nicolas Pepe is open to a move away. That's why he switched agents before the summer to try and get himself a move away. It hasn't happened yet. It's proved difficult, not surprising, given the potential money involved, given his wages, given how much Arsenal paid to sign him. It's just a difficult deal to get done because of a lot of situations involving finances. So this will be an interesting one to sort of see how it progresses potentially the next 24, 48 hours, to see if there's any sort of substance to this potential interest from Nice. Now, for everyone, it just feels like the best possible solution is for Nicolas Pepe to find himself a new club. That's why everyone's kind of working towards that, and it will certainly help Arsenal bring in a replacement should Nicolas Pepe go, a position that we know Arsenal are looking to potentially strengthen. Over on the right-hand side is sort of competition, if you want to call it that, for Bukayo Saka. Whether it happens, we'll have to wait and see. There's we've got about 2 weeks left of the transfer window. This is, I talked about departures yesterday. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Hector Bellerin. It's still very much a priority for Arsenal to get the players out of the squad that they feel need to get out of the squad. Now, Pepe's been involved so far this season. It's not like he's been totally shut out. He's not featured, but he's been on the bench in the opening 2 games, so he's still there or thereabouts. And if he does stay, you'd think he will feature heavily when it comes to the Europa League group stages, a tournament that he's done well in the past for Arsenal. Also the League Cup coming up as well. So it's not a case of Pepe, if he does end up staying, he's not going to feature. I think he will, but it still feels like the best possible solution for everyone is for him to move on now. Arsenal to spend the next 2 weeks getting in a replacement, and then they can really sort of have that settled squad going forward. It's going to be interesting to see what Arsenal do, and if this interest from Nice does get sort of firmed up and they do really sort of make a move to bring Pepe in. I don't see why clubs in France wouldn't be interested in him, and we know that Nice are a very ambitious club. They've already signed Aaron Ramsey this summer. They're looking to get back towards the top of French football. Brought in Aaron Ramsey. They're looking to get Ben Brereton Diaz by all accounts as well from Blackburn, who's obviously had a very, very good year for them in the Championship and with Chile on the international stage. And if they could get Pepe as well, then that's going to give them, what looks like a very good plenty of good attacking options. And we saw what Pepe did with Lille before he came to Arsenal. There's in my mind, I can't see why he can't go back to France and be very, very successful and score this sort of amount of goals that he scored for Lille. It clearly just hasn't happened for him at Arsenal for whatever reason. He's had flashes, no doubt about it, but consistency's been an issue. I think also just fitting into the way Mikel Arteta wants his players to play and perform and to work. It just hasn't really clicked. And it's pretty obvious from what we saw last season in terms of how many minutes he played, how many starts he made, that he doesn't really feature when it comes to certainly feature prominently when it comes to Mikel Arteta's plan. So we'll see how this one progresses. It's certainly one to keep an eye on. You would think potentially we've got 2 weeks left in the window. Departure's still the priority, as I've said, and then seeing what Arsenal can do in terms of potentially adding one more addition to their squad to really give Arteta the kind of attacking options that you kind of feel like would be enough to certainly get him through the first half of the season. Let me know what you guys think. Would Nicolas Pepe to Nice, would that be one that interests you? Do you think Arsenal should do that and then move on and try and bring someone else in? Let me know, as always. Anything you've seen or heard or disagreed with, agreed with in this video, let me know in the comments below. And look, have a very good Wednesday. That's about it for today. I hope you enjoy your day. Looks like we're going to get some rain over here in England. Unbelievable. It's been so long I've forgotten what the stuff looks like. Have a very good day, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow. Speak to you soon.